Yeah, let's record it. Good morning. Matt, let me share my screen for a minute. Okay, good morning. We would like to open one more session, part of the AI coffee break. AI training seminars for academic staff. Today, we will, in general, the AI coffee training seminar for academic staff. Those sessions will focus on integration AI and digital tools. We have a list of tools that we already saw in our session. Most of them or all of them integrate different kinds of AI solutions. And today we will have our guest, Daniel Ginevra. I hope I pronounced it right. From Turnitin. Turnitin, it's a company that offering academic integrity and plagiarism detections. We in Meital have a long relationship with Turnitin, a long discussion in the past to integrate their tools into the academic institute in Israel. We have some pilots and we are trying to understand what are the new feature in Turnitin, and Daniel will join us now for 45 minutes and present that. And thank you, Daniel, for joining us. So the floor is yours, and let's start.
Thanks, Ali, for the lovely introduction. And as you said, Turnitin has been a really long discussion with EUCC and Meital as one of our independent units. Well, I guessed that most of the people here, they are not really familiar with Turnitin. So I prepared a small presentation of around like 15 slides in which I try to outline what we offer to all the universities we cover around the world. Would it be possible for me to share the screen? Perfect. Then let me prepare it. Oh. So I believe everyone can see the screen shared. So as I said, this is a small presentation just to give you a brief idea of what is Turnitin and what we do and why we do it. So the whole, let's say, seed of Turnitin, which is based in the US, is to make educational spaces a better and safe environment. How? In the way we can improve learning outcomes for both students and teachers. This also connects with like the huge amount of university we cover around the globe. As you can see here, this is a really powerful impact. 20,000 plus universities in more than 100 countries. We officially cover around 115 different languages in the world, and we are a sort of indicator when it comes to academic integrity and academic reputation. This is why most of the top universities worldwide, they use Turnitin services to certify the authentic thinking of their students or the researchers. So this is where I would like to start when it comes to the researching part of the universities. This is where Authenticate as a product gives the most visibility on the way a researcher or PhD has treated academic integrity as a whole. So what and where the sources were taken, if they were sourced in the right way. So we give just all the visibility for any publisher before they actually send their research over to a journal or a publishing entity. The way we do it is that we work with 3 different spheres around the authenticator. The first one, well, as I said, researchers, PhD. These are within the academic institution. Then, as you can see on the right side, we also offer, we are let's say we are covering many different governmental institutions, such as, let's say in this case, today I'm talking to UCC, but we work with many different governments, and especially with really, really high impact governmental policies that, of course, I have to be verified with the usage of Authenticate. And the last one is our publishers, which are, as you can believe, journals, periodicals, and anything that has any scientific output is where Turnitin services can actually be used. And this is where Authenticate can be used in many different departments across any organization. So it can be used, as I said, with graduates and PhD, the research and integrity officer, but also to receive funding from the government or from another entity, because as said, we are, let's say, putting a barrier on frauds by certifying the regional thinking of a person or a student or a researcher in this case. What I wanted to highlight here is that here, when you have seen scanning sources, 170 million, these are just the graduate and PhD papers that we have from universities that are our client. And I will get into these topic about database that we manage in a little bit later. You will see a slide. As you can see here, 47 billion current and archived web pages. So these are around like 50 billion, which 40 of them are current, so live pages, and 10 billion are archived, so you cannot find them anywhere. The private repository, we cannot share the number itself, but I was thrilled when I saw the first time how many scientific papers we have in our database, that like billions and billions, and this certifies us as the 7th largest scientific database in the world right now. And this is also given to the partnership that we have with, as I said, the journals and let's say periodicals. We now, this is like should be updated, is 82,000 journals and around 200 million articles from open access repositories and best-in-class publishers that you will see. You will see some of them at the end of this presentation with some logos. And then I wanted to touch upon what is that we offer for like students, because the necessities of a student and a researcher, they are quite different, you know? So this is where Feedback Studio comes in. As the name suggests, Feedback Studio is a way to firstly check the plagiarism of a student by giving you percentages. So if I know that a student has written 1,000 words in a paper and I have 16% here with 5 different sources, this means that 160 words were taken from a source and was not cited or quoted in the correct way. This is everything that is around the percentage of the plagiarism that we offer. So this is visibility of the error and what the student has to do to fix it. And this is where Feedback Studio comes in, because as I said, most of the times around like university we work with, one of their pain point has always been, how can I effectively communicate with students in not a really long process? I don't want it to take a lot of time, and I want my feedback to be effective for the student itself. So this is where we actually created 2 different types of feedback. So the first one that you see on the left, these are feedback that can be attached in a PDF. And the one that you see on the right is a voice comment. So perhaps let's say, let's imagine it as a WhatsApp voice note. So you can actually record yourself as a professor saying, student X, I think your paper is phenomenal, but you are missing some, let's say, a nice introduction with some innovative ideas in the conclusion. So this can be recorded in, let's say, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And what actually shows to the student is that uh, the professor actually took time to firstly read my whole assignment, give me feedback, not about why I did wrong, but how can I get better. So most of the times, like students are, let's say, if they are given 9 out of 10, they don't know what they have to do to move from 9 to 10. And this is where feedback actually gives um, the best way to approach problems when you are in the academic environment. And I believe, and also thousands and thousands of universities worldwide, they believe this is the way to make their student a better academic person. And the second, let's say, smartest problem solving of the feedback studio is giving a grade. So we know how difficult it is to be, first of all, consistent, second of all, time consuming, and third of all, um, having a rubric to actually assign the grades to students. Uh, I would have loved to ask a question at this stage. I don't know if most like some people here are teaching or they um, actually give grade to students. At least is the case. Do we have some? Um, do we have some professor in this panel?
Yes.
Then I would like to ask to any of you, let's say if you would have a course of 50 with 50 students, so you would have a 50 exams to grade, how long would it take for you to give a grade to just one student?
Come again? Didn't understand.
So if you would have an exam, how long would it take in order to give a grade to these students? So like minutes, 1 hour, like in terms of time itself,
Few hours.
few hours, you know. So perhaps let's say you don't have just one student, you have 50 students. So the number of hours actually increase quite a lot. And imagine you have to spend all your weekend grading the assignments of your students, and then one of the students comes back in and says, "Hey, professor, why did I get 7 instead of 8?" And then you have to recall in your head, why did you assign 7 instead of 8 to this student? Now let's take into consideration feedback studio, no? So if you don't remember why student X has received 7, then you can just open his assignment in a PDF form, and then here you see the rubric, which you can fully customize by your need. So you can put like conclusion here, analysis, citation, grammar, anything that you want. You can give sliders like sort of grade itself. So in this case, let's say this would be excellent and this would be not good. And here you would have um, let's say, the description of what is excellent and what is not good. In literally 1 minute, you can open this file and easily recall why you have given 7 to that student and not 8. Moreover, actually, you wouldn't need to, you probably wouldn't need to explain this to your student, because this is where feedback actually makes sense. If a student receives, let's say, a paper with 3 out of 10 as a grade, but doesn't have a feedback, then the student will ask himself or herself, how can I get better if my grade is 3, but I don't know what to do to get to do it better, no? So we believe that this is the way like professor and students should chat over public assignments. But thank you so much for your sharing thoughts. And this is where I wanted to just like refrain a bit the conversation. So similarity checking is what I showed you earlier when it comes about plagiarism. So similarity checking itself is a report in which we give a percentage of the total words that are matching one of our sources. So sources can be student papers, uh, student works, so let's say PhD thesis or any article, and then anything that comes with the journals and periodicals that are our partner. And so I've been already publishing. Grading and feedback, as I said, the possibility to give rubrics, quick mark and comments, and grammar. Drag coach is something attached to it in which students can have some sort of a Grammarly. So the way they can, let's say, check any grammar mistake or citation checking when it comes to maybe I forgot to put the quote here or maybe I forgot to cite the source. And then what I wanted to actually highlight here is originality. Originality is another percentage, but this refers to artificial intelligence. Um, so any output that has been used with artificial intelligence, this will be flagged with originality. What originality does is an integration with Feedback Studio in the way that we can carefully evaluate whether a text has been let's say generated through the usage of AI and why AI was involved. So as you can see here, you would have a table with 87%. So again, if you would have 1,000 words, 87% will be that 170 words in that paper were generated by the usage of AI. And and what we do to, let's say, diversify our, let's say, a student has been using AI by the usage of AI generated only and AI paraphrased. So if I went to ChatGPT, which is one of the most known LLM, and I would ask ChatGPT, can you write me 350 words about EUCC in Israel? What is their job and what do they do? And then I would copy paste. This would be AI generated only. Now, if I would open 3 different web pages about EUCC, and then I would ask a ChatGPT to make a summary of these 3 different sources, this would be AI paraphrase. So the whole reason is that professors should always have a eye for how the student has used AI. So did they use it to do copy paste, or did they use to actually modify some of the text that was already written? And let's say, as I wanted to portray here, every feature of our products are really easy to use. As you can see here, we diversify the output with colors, so that when you want to, let's say, share it internally with another professor or share directly with the student, then it will be easy to detect what the student has been doing wrong. Lastly, I wanted to, let's say, touch upon the journals and our partners, because these are the biggest reason why we have one of the largest database on Earth. And I believe that you are quite familiar with some of them. I took like some of the most important one, like Elsevier, Springer, and ProQuest. And all, let's say, basic thought that I would like to finish with this presentation is that when it comes to plagiarism, so let's say if we take this percentage here, when a paper is uploaded in our database, it's not written anymore in English or Hebrew or any other language. it is instantly translated into a binary code language. What this binary code language allows us to do is that we can compare your student paper with all of our database, because this is a language agnostic. We're not reading anymore English, Hebrew, Italian, German, but we are reading binary codes that allows us to confront this paper with all the papers that we have in our storage. So we're talking about billions of sources that we have. But this is where actually language makes a barrier, because with artificial intelligence you can understand that if you if you ask an output in English or in Hebrew, the way the output will be given is quite different. So this is why artificial intelligence as a solution is only offered in English and Spanish and Japanese, which I believe are a bit out of context here. So I have already talked with Ellie that most of the work will be actually in the Hebrew language. I just wanted to share with you what we do in order to detect AI and how can we detect AI. Yeah, this will be my last presentation and my last slide, and I would love if you would have any sort of question, please. I'll be more than thankful to reply to it.
Hi, thank you. I would like to ask if it stands legally. I mean, if someone goes to court with a paper or something, does it stand?
Yeah, so these are in our FAQs, in the sense that what we essentially, especially when it comes to plagiarism and artificial intelligence, is a percentage, you know. So that we're telling, so you should rely on the fact that this percentage is actually the truth. Now, we have around 25 years of experience in this field, because it actually the company was created on the day that I was born, so in 12 March 1998. And since then, we pioneered in academic integrity. And what academic integrity stands for is literally percentages. So what is the percentage, truthfully, of your paper being written by yourself without any usage of shortcuts? So if you take it legally to a court, then you wouldn't have any problem, because um, legally what we are displaying is the confrontation with our database. So nothing more, etc. And legally, there will be no name, surname, student ID, or submission details. So you wouldn't be able to address, oh, this paper is coming from student X, so name, surname, and ID number of the student. You will only be able to recall that um, this is a paper from, let's say, University of Tel Aviv. Does this answer your question, Noam?
Well, I'm more asking about articles than students' work.
So when it comes to article, if they are within our database, you are
When you talk about using AI, and you talk about originality.
yeah.
Okay, so if I'm if I get help from an AI, from ChatGPT for that matter, in writing my ideas, does that qualifies as not original for according to your checking?
Well, what we offer, Noam, is a visibility for, let's say, professors or any researchers. So we want to give you um, the full visibility on what is not being doing well. So if your paper has 80% of AI writing, and then it's classified by 60% of AI generated and 20% of AI paraphrased, then you should really ask yourself, how can I change it in order to make this percentage not damaging? What we classify as not damaging for the institution is something below 20%. Because something below 20% assigns you that you have used. So we want students to actually use innovation such as AI, no? Because AI is one of the biggest innovations that we had in the last 10 years. So it would be such a shame if we would tell our students to not use it. But one thing is to use it with like some sort of equilibrium towards the final path that you want to take with your assignment. And another way is to use it as a shortcut. So we want to give the visibility of how the student has been using, in this case, AI, and where did he use it. Is this more clear as an answer?
Probably, yeah.
I think it's if we are looking for the history of Turnitin, it's usually, it's not the only tool, but I think it's the most common in the world because it's the biggest, I think, I'm not sure, but it's one of the biggest tools. And I think it's kind of plagiarism tools, and it's a kind of teaching and teaching students how to be more ethics and how to use tools, teacher and students, and give them the tools to understand what is plagiarism, what is ethica, and how to use tools. So I think we can consider these kinds of tool in different ways. One of them is to support education, and the other one is to find some non-ethic issue. And this is something that goes all the way for a long time, and I think we can see that here as well, that it's offered to the students, it's offered to the teacher, and it's offered different kinds of views. The big question that we are facing, I think, it's how to use AI, and the way that you mentioned that we can evaluate and see as a teacher what a percentage of use and what's the kinds of use. This is something that can help. And another thing that it's very unique to Turnitin from my perspective is that it's a connection. He has a connection to the articles. That means to the big publisher, and this is another option that brings lots of data that most of the teacher using, and this is going to give a clue how the articles was duplicate or whatever it is, and plagiarism. So this is the tools. And another thing that was very interesting for me in this presentation is the rubrics that you mentioned. That means the evaluation aspects, how to evaluation students' works, and this is something, rubrics, and this kind of thing that's very unique and interesting for us, and maybe can support. And if you can elaborate a little bit about this rubrics and how this help to evaluate. So altogether, it brings a very interesting tool, and this is one of the things that interests me.
Thanks by the way, Eli. I wanted to show you rather than talk about it, because I believe it is more effective to see it in what would be a real life scenario rather than just describing, what other universities are using or how they are using it. So let me share my screen, and I will quickly run through say how Feedback Studio and Originality would be used in this case. Let me share this one. So just to give you a more of detailed one. So this is what our solution would look like if you would open in a cloud native. However, what is the idea mentioned is that we are fully integrating with any LMS. So Moodle, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, or if you have any custom one, then we are just giving an API that would allow any of the functions that I will show you now to be integrated with the way you do things on an everyday basis. But in this case, I opened Feedback Studio with originality. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I opened another one. Originality. So as you can see, like you would have, let's say, a class with a start, due date, and post date, and the status of how many students have actually joined the class, and how many of them have already submitted the exam or the assignment that you wanted to have a look. So if I would click on view, and I would open one of them, then first of all, I would have two different categories. The first one is grading, and the second one is a similarity. So Ali, let's go to the grading when it comes about this side of the table. So in this one, I have a quick mark. So let's say I'm a new professor. I just requested access for Turnitin. Any of the things that you see here, they are not there, right? So I started to create my quick mark rubric. So let's say if I would like to, I think this paragraph should contain more innovative ideas, then I would convert it to quick mark and I would call it more, add more innovative thoughts. Then I would quickly convert it, and then let's say I would just drag this feedback into the PDF of the student.
It's personal for the teacher, or it's
Yeah, these are fully customizable. So what if Professor X would have one, then Professor Y can have 1,000. So these are different because of the licenses that are given to the professors. So now let me delete this one, otherwise people will be upset. And this one is about the voice comment. As I said, it is basically using WhatsApp on a voice way to give a student feedback. And the last one, as you were saying, these are the grading rubrics. Now, what I couldn't show you is that these are the managed rubrics and grading. What you are seeing right now can be fully customizable. So if okay, let's take a scenario where you have a Professor X that is teaching mathematics and Professor Y that is teaching, let's say, biology. So the way they give a grade to students is completely different, because the two levels of these courses are much different on the learning outcomes that you want to obtain with your student. So let's say here you would have evidence, structure, conclusion, and the scales can be good, not good, excellent, or distinct. You would put a series of reasons for why you think evidence would be not good, evidence would be good, evidence would be excellent. And then once you would have these grading rubric that, as I said, fully customizable from the teacher side, then you will just start. So imagine, recalling to what we said before, imagine that you have to give a grade to 50 different students, So you will start with the first one, and then okay, let's start from here. Oh. So you have a read about this paper, and let's say you believe that evidence meets expectations. Structure is excellent, conclusion is excellent, and citations does not meet. Of course, this 100 can be easily changed, but let's keep it for the sake of just showing you. So if everything is excellent beside evidence, then I believe these students should get a mark of 90 out of 100. Now, the best way possible is that, look, I go to the next one, and then I see that everything is on the excellent. So this student should definitely receive 100. And if I want to actually give something that is not a quick mark and is only alleged to this specific student paper, then I can easily put, I am incredibly astonished by your work, and this is the best class assignment. So now that this is not a quick mark, this is something that is only attached to Kendall Park assignment. And this can be used in many different ways, you know. Here they are not, because that's like a demo
In general, this is all these remarks based on the previous decision or remarks that the teacher integrate.
So you have two different types of feedback that you can give, you know. The first ones that are the ones saved, in which, as I told you, there is a reason why you would give, you know. So if you would open this one, so the student would open why the teacher gave me add more innovative thoughts. So the student would open this feedback. I think this part, well, of course, this is a really basic one, but imagine if this feedback would actually say, innovative thoughts comes from something that is really singular thinking, and I want you to express more, uh, let's say, innovative way to express one type of concept, you know. And then there is this type of text that I told you, these are not like you cannot transfer these to another student just because it's a text based. These are instead quick marks. The last one which I wanted to touch upon are the academic flags, which they're not really common, but you will see that sometimes these pops up, and you will be quite grateful that we have this some sort of votes. So hidden text. So if I go here, look, you are not able to see it. But then if I click here, oh, student can use white text to hide words and increase the word count. Or as you can see, the I in between the spaces. These are ways the student in general use in order to hinder what would be the detection or make the word count higher. And the last one, also this one, you wouldn't see here. Well, if I replace characters, then I am not able to, unfortunately, zoom. But as you can see, the R here does not come from the Latin alphabet, but it comes from the Cyrillic one. And what these could actually cause is problems with the plagiarism itself. And this is why these are not given in our plagiarism score, but they are in academic flags, because these are some of the ways that the student can actually change the outcome of a paper. Yeah, then let's say the last thing I wanted to show you is that if let's say you have finished to give all the feedbacks to a student and you want to share it with the student itself, then you would download the current view, which in this case it would read like this. So you would have all the different well, in this case there was only one, and the text attached. And then you will see these numbers. So let's say number 6 or number 9, that when the student would see it and they will scroll down, then they will see it. Number 6 is submitted to the College of Southern Nevada, West Charleston campus. Or the number 9 comes from OC DNTB Governor, which if I copy paste, this is a Ukrainian DOI research, which I'm not able to see right now. But the whole point stands that these are the ways you can share it with your students, and this is what it would look like on your site. So you would have, when it comes to the plagiarism, a percentage, the source. So in this case, it's a student paper. And as I told you, let's say, this would be submitted to, let's say, University of Tel Aviv. You are not able to see name, surname, student ID. So we are fully GDPR compliant when it comes to the student database that we have. When it comes about internet source, you would just click on it, and this would take you to the where the research is stored. Well, in this case, it's an internet source, but if I would open a publication here and I would open it, then there is it would actually give me the DOI and where the paper is stored. In this case, is from ProQuest. And yeah.
Any other question from the audience? I think we run out of time. If there is no any more questions, so thank you, Daniel, for this session. It's very interesting. Turnitin, it's, as I said, has a very interesting solution. And AI integrated, it's also very interesting to the Higher Education Institute in general. So thank you very much. Thank you all to join us, and we'll send you the information about the next session.
Sure.
Soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much to have invited me. It's a really great honor for me to, speak all these lovely features that we have, but also lovely to see this cohort of Israeli and little brains around all the universities. So again, thanks to have invited me. Wish you a lovely day and continuous webinar. And ciao.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Cheers.
Daniel.
Bye.
Ciao.